Okay, so Trump's on the news. Well, I
Yeah,
guess you could say he never left the news, but yeah. So what's your take on what's happening with Trump at the moment?
it is pretty disgusting. I mean, and it's pretty transparent too. The Democrats were the ones who kicked up a big fuss about election interference and all that kind of thing. Um, Ironically, they pointed their fingers towards Russia, but they're the ones who were really, stoking their fires about election interference, and yet look what they've done against this man to stop him from being able to be elected. Um, it's lawfare. It's that is a big part of what they're doing. The fact that they're trying to hit him from so many different fronts, and they have been trying to do that for the longest time,
Hmm.
I think is pretty transparent, pretty disgusting all around. They refuse to let the American public decide who they want as the president. And I mean, I'm not American, you're not American. So, I mean, it matters little to us in that respect. He's not going to be our president. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty blatant, even from this side of the pond to see exactly what's going on there. I think it's disgusting.
Because it
And it's
doesn't seem like there's any other candidate, is there? That's a front.
no,
No, is Nikki Haley still running?
Nikki Haley, last report was still running.
Right.
But everyone's calling her a plant, and no, I don't think she's a plant. But at this stage, she may as well be. I think she's trying to pull resources from anywhere she can get it, and unfortunately, a lot of that is on very
Yeah.
left-leaning sites.
So really, it's
And
just Trump. It's only Trump,
yeah,
the
so pretty
Republican
much
side.
it's only Trump.
Yeah.
I thought Vivesh and Ron DeSantis, were
Vivek.
on
Yeah.
any other year, they would have been, really in with a chance, both of them. But this year it's Trump. I think
So, so,
the
so what happens if say they're able to say that okay, Trump cannot run? If it's sort of announced that he cannot run, um, what happens then? So who becomes the Republican candidate?
I think at that stage the old boys get in their pickup trucks with their
Right?
semi-automatic weapons and go crazy.
Yeah, but like, who would be the front runner if he's
uh,
able to stop him?
you know what? I honestly think at this
It would be Nikki
stage,
Haley, wouldn't it? Like if she's still running.
I think if she's still running, I mean the other guys have suspended the thing. Whether it means that they can pick it up, I'm not sure, but I would imagine that it would fall on Nikki Haley to come in and
If it's just like I don't understand how it all works. So if the two main candidates and one candidate has dropped
mm,
for legal reasons, does that mean that one of the other candidates that initially suspended their campaign are back
I
on the road?
I don't know whether I mean they call it
I mean,
suspending their campaign,
yeah,
but I
yeah, it's not.
don't know whether it just means that they have to go from the jump from where they were before and on the back foot, or whether it actually means that they're completely out of contention. I don't know. I wish I'd come to
I
bed
just don't think it's
knowing.
ever happened.
No,
It's never happened. So
and
it's the first
but
time.
I think it would look pretty good for Nikki if that isn't the case.
Oh well, I have a feeling that if Trump is deemed uneligible to run, I think the likes of Vivek and Ron will probably be back in the race. Uh,
Yeah.
a short race, I may add, because the Republican Democratic Party will have to pick someone, and
Mm,
it might, you know, it might have to be someone like Vivek, who's quite vocal, who has a bit of a command on the stage, something like that. But Look, it's to be seen what happens with Trump. But yeah, I just don't like, to be honest with you, I just do not understand if someone's being investigated or if someone is being blamed for the January 6th um, insurrection. Um, how can they still run? And you're letting him run, but you're saying he can't go far. The American laws just make no sense to me. Like either stop his campaign altogether, or if he's running, let him run. Uh,
Mm.
um,
Well, the thing to me, I mean, it should be innocence until proven guilty to some extent, I guess.
yeah.
In my view, and I mean, my my view is that there was no insurrection. I do think that there was a whole heap of yobbos who were interspersed in a very, tens or hundreds of thousands strong crowd, and you had a number of yobbos. But from what I can make out, every political rally or political protest in America has had that very same thing. Now, whether it be at the Capitol building or whether it be on the streets of Seattle or whether it's been BLM or Antifa or whomever, there is, or even those white nationalists in Virginia, uh, going back those years ago when that one person got run over and all that kind of thing, and they were running around with tiki torches. I mean, it's on both sides and all types, but I don't recall seeing any political protest in America in recent times that hasn't had an amount of troublemakers,
Oh no,
people who will
I don't
attack
think the
police and.
yeah. I don't think the issue is that. I think the issue is more, from what I understand, is
Mhm.
the accusation on Trump is that Trump encouraged his his base to attack the Capitol, and and what happened after that. A couple of ministers almost lost their lives. Um, I guess
Did they
that
though?
part of it, I think, is the reason, from my understanding, why he's like it's a different thing for your base to do a riot on the streets of New York
Mhm.
or on the streets, but maybe it's a different thing when you're having it done at a like a Parliament House or something like that.
Mm.
There's an actual attack on the country in a way. Um,
Yeah, I don't see that. I mean, I didn't hear about anyone nearly losing their lives.
well,
Um,
wasn't there a thing where they were trying to kill the vice president, the then vice president? Or
no, not as far as I saw. I saw there were some people making effigies and that kind of thing, but I didn't see anyone race in or try and grab anyone or shoot anyone. Or, as
well,
far as I understood, there was
it,
a
it
lot of.
it seemed like, I mean, from what I saw, it seemed
Uh-huh.
like it was, if they were able to get to someone, they would have made an example out of them. It seemed like that anyway. There've been convictions. People have gone to jail for what, 20 years, 15,
Oh,
20.
there's been convictions galore. Um,
Yeah,
but some of the people who were convicted have been convicted for literally being in there, even though they were let in.
yeah.
The Capitol
And
Police opened up the door,
and I
said,
guess that's what I'm trying to say, that this is possibly a serious enough issue from that point of view. For example, if a rioter on the streets of New York City is doing a riot and gets arrested, they
Mhm.
don't get 20 years jail. You know what I mean?
No,
For
they don't.
for doing
But
that. But if you're doing it at the Capitol Hill, or was that the Capitol Hill? It was the Capitol Hill, right?
yeah,
Well, the
so
Capitol
that
Hill.
was at the Capitol. Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
no,
uh, uh,
yeah. I'm just trying to understand what that place is called. Capitol Hill,
hmm,
I think.
the
Yeah,
Capitol buildings.
Yeah, but
Um,
there's a name for that particular place. I thought it was Capitol Hill.
oh, that precinct is Capitol Hill.
Right, the whole, yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's the Capitol Hill Police.
Yeah.
Um, but they let open the gates, and I mean, if you see a lot of the footage, it's guys and girls kind of walking through and kind of just kind of sightseeing. Now, I think that definitely there's a few people who went in and you know caused trouble, but a lot of the people that were actually arrested and put away in jail caused no trouble at all,
No,
and were
absolutely.
let in.
No, but like, no, I totally get that. But I believe there are laws in place where there are certain places civilians cannot go. So if you are going there when you're not supposed to be there, the
Mm.
penalties will be harsher. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And that's the way I look at this whole thing. In that, I guess what they're saying is Trump didn't do enough to to stop it. However, it seemed like he was encouraging it. And
What was he encouraging though? I mean, he definitely wanted people to protest outside. He did ask them all to protest peacefully. Um, he was recorded as saying that to go there with love in your hearts, to gently march, all of these kind of things. I think he tried the gentle, gentle. He
yeah,
actually put out words a number of times, I think on three different occasions, just the day before, just before, and during, kind of saying, look, we don't want to pick on the fine policemen, we don't want to do this, we don't want to do that.
mm,
Some people are going to do it anyhow.
yeah.
I think it's a fair thing to say. Um, you should have known that if enough of people were together, you're going to have a few bad eggs. Even if you're looking at 0.5% and you're looking at 100,000
And there's
people,
a lot of things that
that's
happen
a
in a
lot of
crowd
a lot of
situation.
bodies.
Yeah, in a crowd situation, there's something I was reading about in psychology where there's this crowd effect
Absolutely.
that can also happen. And, a lot of things, lot of those people may not have gone in if no one else had gone in the first place or tried hard to get in. So there's a bit of a crowd, like in a crowd behavior that also happens. It's a
There's
psychology.
also, Nancy Pelosi has had a big part in all of that. She thought Trump was going to come through. She gave the order to open up the doors and to let people in. She wanted to be able to convict people, and she wanted especially for Trump to be there. She, talked up how he was going to be there, and she couldn't wait to punch him in the nose and all this kind of thing. And she was expecting Trump to come through, and for her to be able to, have him hung, drawn, and quartered. But when he didn't turn up, she was incensed. The Capitol Police, when everyone started coming through, they said, this is quite a volatile situation. We need support, and it went up to Nancy Pelosi. She didn't order any support. She wanted it to be a thing. She wanted to create or to help foster an environment where things were going to get out of control.
Mm.
And there's more than just reports about people in the police, FBI rather, infiltrating that and trying to foster up that or ginning up the resentment and that kind of thing. And I think all these combinations of things had a very bad effect. But I will say it wouldn't have been anything other than I'd expect. I mean, I've seen Antifa firebomb buildings. I've seen them. I mean, there was $3 million worth of property damage during the Summer of Love. There was a couple of dozen people killed during the Summer of Love. From all different incidents there. There was no one killed in the supposed insurrection. There was what you'd expect. There was vandalism. There was assaults.
There was, I think, a couple of the police officers killed.
No,
I thought it
but
was
no, that's a lie that the media spread. There was someone who died of a stroke shortly after, but he wasn't killed during the time. And there were people who were injured, but there wasn't anyone who killed. I think that I've seen reports saying up to 5 people were killed. Five
Wasn't there?
police officers were killed.
Wasn't one of the insurrectors shot in the head?
Yeah, there was one. One
Yeah,
of the
one lady
people
was shot.
who went in. She got killed
Yeah,
by a policeman.
correct.
Shot.
Yeah, shot in the head.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but there was no police officers who were killed.
right.
Um, there were a few who were injured, and that's absolutely truth. And I think, see, that's one thing that people refuse to do. That refuse to look at it in terms of, um,
But I thought, wasn't the Vice President Pence, Mike Pence, was also in trouble because the whole reason why the insurrection happened is because Trump lost the election, and um, he wanted Mike Pence to support him in an activity that a vice president has the power to do so, and he said, no, I'm not going to do that. So in some ways, the you know the base was quite angry at Mike Pence, and that's why I felt Mike Pence was also. I think from what I have seen in the news, Mike Pence was also a target of those guys, along with Nancy Pelosi, um, and something along those lines. Because didn't Mike Pence even run his campaign on that for a little bit? How he was.
well, I know that there was a lot of talk about what the people were going to do and what have you, and yet they they didn't bring guns in. When they were in there, for the most part, they were walking around gormlessly looking around.
Yeah, that
You
was
know,
not. Yeah,
there there was no one bailed up or you know accosted or threatened inside the building, from what I understand. Um,
I don't know. I mean,
the
the
cheering
news
and
source I
carrying
have
on
seen,
was kind
there's a
of
news. Yep.
demonstrative rather than uh, anything else.
Yeah,
And so, yeah, look, there was ill feeling. They were, having their angst, and a few kind of caused trouble, assaulting people or vandalizing stuff. Um,
yeah,
but again, and I hate to get back to it, but it's not more than we've seen at any other political thing. Do you remember the courthouse in Seattle being firebombed? And that kind of thing. There were in some of those things there were people breaking pavement and throwing pavement at police and
mm.
that kind of thing. So violence, to some measure, by a small proportion of protesters happens at every political rally because some get completely incensed and can't hold their emotions in check.
No, no,
The rabble
absolutely,
rousers and
I totally
whatever.
understand that. I think my only thing is that there are certain places where when you do that level of, you know, disturbance, the penalties are going to be higher. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like if you want to wave a gun in the middle of, CBD Canberra,
mm,
okay, you're going to get jail. But if you're doing the same thing in the Parliament House, you're going to get a substantially more jail time. And
yeah.
I see this as that. And, you know, I think you're right. I think Trump just wanted possibly just a rally. He didn't want them to
Mm,
in and get inside and do something stupid.
no.
But, you know, like you said, you should expect that as a
Yeah.
leader. And
Yeah.
knowing how crowds work, knowing your base is already pissed off because you lost the election,
Mm,
this is a recipe for disaster. So
mm,
we should have, possibly thought of that. I'm guessing live by the sword, die by the sword. So I think this has kind of come on Trump because he was the leader. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
but also I totally agree. I think Nancy Pelosi, she didn't do enough to stop it because that's something I was very surprised about. that how is it that this is the most important building or one of the most important buildings
Yeah.
in Capitol Hill, and you only have three policemen or a handful of policemen guarding it.
And
Why
why did they open the
why isn't
doors?
there infantry there? Aren't there water tanks? Why aren't there military SWAT teams? God knows everything that America has. Why aren't they landing there to do something? Why aren't there, military with machine guns shooting in
Yeah,
the air to get people to disperse? Nothing. And I just found that to be very odd. Like
absolutely.
like a normal crime scene in America, you have like 10 cop cars, SWAT teams not far away because someone's holding up a bank.
No,
And over here, like this is the place where you expect, even if they planned it secretly that they're gonna go there and they had their own Facebook group and whatnot. The fact that it started, why isn't everything that Washington had rushing to that place? And you need to have more soldiers or policemen than the actual people there.
yeah. Well, I mean,
That
to
makes
my
sense to me.
to my view, it makes sense in a view that
They want
uh,
it to get bad.
yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
They knew who was
Pelosi,
in there. They knew who was in there. They knew the potential for live threats were
yep,
very minimal. So they wanted to let them come in, damage, trash the place, do something stupid, and then use that against Trump. So it was very well thought of.
absolutely,
It was very well thought of. But but
yeah,
it should never be a scene in Capitol Hill where three or four policemen are trying to keep off hundreds of people. That makes no
yeah,
sense.
no.
Doesn't make any sense to me. Uh,
And the thing was too, with reports from some of the people who were in the crowd but not in the thick of it, who were kind of, they were like, hey, yeah, we're having a picnic at Capitol Hill, while we're there supporting the protests. And down the very front that they can't see, can't even hear, all this crap is happening because there's, I mean, even if you said, look, there's 100,000 people and you said 0.5% of that, that would be like, 500 people.
and to be honest, when this whole thing started, the day it started, it was being looked at as a joke.
Mm,
People, like all the celebrities, were posting Instagram videos of these idiots trying to climb and then fall down. They were playing the Mario video game music in the background. Do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do, and they would fall
yeah,
down. They're trying to climb up and they fall down. So this was
yeah.
a joke. At the time, it was just a joke, and everyone was having a huge laugh. Look at these idiots trying to get in there. They can't get in there. They're old. They're fat. They can't climb
Mm,
it. So it was a joke. At the time, it was a joke. I remember on the day, like a lot of basketball players were posting Instagram videos that they had gotten from somewhere of people climbing
mm,
and falling, and someone had done like, Nintendo music in the background or
mm,
Mario music, and it was all fun and games. Thought it was a joke. Like no one thought that on 9/11, when that
mm.
no one thought this is a joke. Let's play comedy music in the background, but this was looked at as a joke. But I guess, yeah, like they definitely heightened it because it serves the political, I guess, goals of the.
Absolutely. And I mean, if Trump does get in, he's going to,
He's going to run through
exonerate.
everyone. There's no one else.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, that's pretty much all I had on this topic.
Yeah. It's a funny one, isn't it? But yeah, I think it's quite transparent how they're treating Trump, and I don't think he's the be all and end all. But I'd say stacking him up against poor old Joe, there's not much there to recommend old Joe.
Not at all.
Trump can at least talk.